That's kind of a perfect segue to my question. This morning I texted some girlfriends and said I was coming here. And one, well, we all have school-age kids, but she works in the Department of Education.
Okay.
So she made a comment, he's a little too extreme for me. And I was like taken back by that because I thought the opposite. Like, I'm a Trumper, and it's like, it feels like we can accomplish a lot of the things I like about him, but without all of the polarization. So it was completely opposite of my perception. And when she explained, you know, the lack of funding and the lack of programs and the lack of all of that stuff that she relies on to get her job done, I could kind of see that side. So what would you say to someone like that about like what's coming? You know, I agree with all of the drainage, but then what could she look forward to have confidence in you if she was looking to vote?
Sure. So I understand it's very personal if somebody knows they're going to lose their job. And so I have empathy for that. Most of the people working in those agencies are individually good people. It's the machine that ends up being the problem. But I'll still stand by my conviction that the job of the federal government is not to provide employment opportunity. It's to serve the people of this country. And I'm sure she's somebody who has the kind of skill set that we need in the private sector. Right now, there's more open jobs than we have people looking for work. So I have full confidence in your friend, if she's thoughtful enough to pay attention and actually care about this country and give you details, her skill set can be put to much better use than in a federal department. That what I tell her is, maybe I'll ask you if you don't mind to tell her, is unlike most people who are preaching about the Department of Education, I understand what its original intent was. It began as a department to make sure southern states weren't siphoning away money from predominantly black school districts to white ones. That purpose has long passed. Now they're using our taxpayer money to tell local schools that they don't get that money unless they adopt toxic racial and gender ideologies. And worse, they're tilting the scales to four-year college degrees that aren't serving our young people, at least in many cases. Gender studies major in California, somehow it's going to get you a head start in the American dream. It's what we told them. It isn't working. And so everybody loses in the end. And so I want that $80 billion delivered back to parents and to schools across this country. For less than 20% of that, we can put, on a day like today, I think it's important for me to say it, 3 armed security guards in every school across this country to make sure what happened in Perry today never happens again in this country. It's unconscionable, and it's not even close, which is a better use of money. And so I don't mean that in the slightest disrespect to individuals and, may I say, patriots like her. But hopefully those patriots can recognize that even in the short run that might be difficult in a personal sense. For the country, this is the right thing to do, so that parents can choose where they send their kids to school, can do it with the confidence to know they go to those schools safely, and to avoid perpetuating a lot of the ideologies that are finding their way into that system that will actually leave students and parents across this country far better off. That's where I'm coming from, is when an organization ultimately has outlived its purpose. The purpose is achieved. Celebrate that you achieved it and then shut off and move on. But from the Department of Education, frankly, even to the UN, a lot of these organizations, when they outlive their purpose, they start finding new things to do. And that's when the corruption begins. So I hope that answers your question. It's time for us to